Published 0249s, the 11th of November 2017. Updated 0330s, the 11th of November 2017. The United States and Russia issued a joint statement on Saturday agreeing to cooperate to defeat the ISIS terror army, and backing a set of principles related to forcing a resolution to the bloody civil war in Syria. The statement confirms that Presidents Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin met on the sidelines of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit in Da Nang, Vietnam. It also says Russia and the U.S. are committed to keeping lines of communication open in order to prevent dangerous incidents between American and Russian military forces while the U.S. and its allies are fighting ISIS. Trump and Putin both attended the APEC Leaders Summit on Saturday, and were pictured talking and shaking hands before it began. Presidents Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin talked on the sidelines of the APEC summit in Da Nang, Vietnam on Saturday, according to a joint statement issued in Russian by the Kremlin. Trump did most of the talking, according to a person who witnessed the conversation. An English translation of a Russian-language version of the statement issued afterward says the two leaders confirmed their determination to defeat ISIS in Syria. It also confirmed that the U.S. and Russia agree that the conflict in Syria cannot have a military solution. Instead, the White House and the Kremlin are committed to forcing Syrian strongman Bashar al-Assad to engage in a political transition out of power, as dictated by a resolution the United Nations Security Council passed in December 2015. The resolution demanded a free and fair election by a deadline that passed in June 2017. Trump and Putin also discussed de-escalation zones in Syria, which the Assad regime has largely ignored and continues to strike with impunity. The Kremlin published a Russian-language joint statement on its website Saturday afternoon. While Trump and Putin were attending the APEC meeting, Trump and Putin discussed de-escalation zones like this one in Syria, which the Bashar al-Assad regime continues to strike as it tries to obliterate anti-government rebels. Assad would have had to hold elections to replace himself by June 2017, according to the terms of a UN Security Council resolution that Trump and Putin jointly backed. In a statement on Saturday issued in Vietnam, pictured in this video screen grab is a Russian Tu-22M3 strategic bomber hitting ISIS targets near the city of Abu Kamal, Deir ez-Zor Governorate, Syor last week. As of an hour later, the White House had yet to confirm that the statement was genuine, or release its own version in English, but it was negotiated behind the scenes in Da Nang by U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders had told reporters on Friday that Trump and Putin would not meet in Vietnam. Regarding a Putin meeting, there was never a meeting confirmed, and there will not be one that takes place due to scheduling conflicts on both sides, Sanders said aboard Air Force One. There is no formal meeting or anything scheduled for them. Now, they're going to be in the same place, she allowed. Are they going to bump into each other and say hello? Certainly possible and likely. Before the battle, ISIS supporters paraded through the Syrian city of Raqqa, which was the base of operations for their self-proclaimed caliphate until their defeat there this year. Most news photographers were kept out of the Da Nang resort where the APEC Leaders Summit was held on Saturday, leading to griping from journalists, and speculation about whether the news blackout was ordered to avoid documenting Trump's meeting with Putin. The press was largely shut out of the Intercontinental Da Nang Sun Palace Resort, where 21 world leaders met on Saturday. American news photographers were not allowed in the building despite a long-standing arrangement with the White House permitting them to take pictures at pre-approved times of the day. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told the state-run Sputnik News website that the joint statement was prepared specifically to go along with the Vietnam summit, suggesting the White House knew Trump and Putin would meet there. Trump has shown little appetite for holding talks with Putin unless there is some sense that progress could be made on festering issues such as Syria, Ukraine and North Korea. After emphasizing last year on the campaign trail that it would be nice if the United States and Russia could work together on world problems, Trump has had limited contact with Putin since taking office. Trump publicly sitting down with Putin also revives the issue of Russian meddling in last year's U.S. presidential election, which remains under investigation. Trump's former campaign manager, Paul Manafort, has been indicted in the probe along with his former deputy, Rick Gates.